Thank you very much to the organisers for putting on a fantastic event today. My name's Greig Paterson. I'm with Drees Sommer, based out of Germany. My team itself is located in Dubai, but we have a number of individuals working directly with us around the world. And I'm here to talk briefly about some of the innovation aspects that we've been involved in for design management. And I'll talk through some of the tools and methods that we've been using along the way. Before I jump straight into some of the tools and methods, though, I think it's important to talk about the rationale of why we've been looking to innovate in this way. So I'll talk about some of the challenges that we've been finding in the industry and our responses to these challenges. So starting off, one of the first challenges is the multidisciplinary design process, which is very much follows a linear pattern. And as we start from the beginning, when we have the business case, the feasibility studies, moving into design, construction, operation, a lot of information is passed from one stage to the next, but there's also a lot of data and information which is not passed from each major stage. There's a whole host of reasons for this. One of them is that we have a lot of very highly brilliant but very specialized stakeholders working somewhat in isolation in different groups. And there's always a challenge here with interoperability between these different stakeholders. So what we find is that people look, particularly on large, complex projects, they can be so laser focused that they see really the problem within their specialism. That could be cost, that could be infrastructure, and they fail to see the bigger picture, let's say. And this is particularly important on large giga projects, for example, within the kingdom. So our mantra from the beginning is always to work in an interdisciplinary way. So using all of the strengths and skills and techniques throughout the design process, bring that all together and working on it from the early stages of design. Another challenge, again, on very large, complex buildings is just the plethora of information involved in the project. Different design teams, different specialists, engineering models, architectural CAD models, spreadsheets. And so it's very difficult for each stakeholder, be it the client or within the design team, to have a mental map of everything that's going on, especially when they're being updated at different rates. So there's always going to be one or two pieces of the puzzle missing. So what we've been looking at is to create these high-level executive summary models, which just provide an overview to show the bigger picture of the project at all times. It's very lightweight and able to be updated so that as each aspect of the project is updated, there's always an up-to-date bigger picture of the project. In this way, it brings all the different disciplines from infrastructure, architecture, finance, all together within one platform. So now I'll talk over a case study that we worked on here in the kingdom. Now this was I'm sure a lot of people recognize this. This is a very challenging project for a number of reasons. First off, the terrain, very mountainous. The architecture itself was very ambitious and futuristic. We had very stringent sustainability targets to achieve. The digitization of the project was very innovative in terms of mobility and wayfinding. So our challenge was, how do we integrate this complex design together? How do we validate as we move through the project at each stage? And how do we capture and move forward the design rationale, the design intent, to keep an eye on the bigger picture and be able to communicate that to key stakeholders, including executives? So we follow a very similar methodology with each project. We start off by collecting data, and we do this continuously. And this is in terms of design, in terms of design rationale, technical, financial information. We then categorize that in terms of text, 3D models, timelines, CAD. This is then moved into the model creation period where we process the data. We even use AI and machine learning where necessary. And the ultimate output of this is having the key information in one central location and we're able to visualize data at the executive level. And of course, collaboration within workshops, ultimately to help make decisions moving forward. So this is the platform. I'll just shortly give you a quick run through of it, just to say that this is delivered to the stakeholder, be it in the client side or design side, by a secure online link. So no software is required. It's very high level. You can use it on your phone. You can use it on your iPad, on your laptop. It's completely bespoke, made for each project. It's not, the next project won't look like this. It'll be completely different. And user-friendliness is the key. So let me just give you a quick run through. Again, you can be using this on your phone and just swiveling around. You can see the model in 3 dimensions. Everything here is fully interactive, and you see all of the major key information along the bottom of the screen. We show here building assets, infrastructure, water, energy. And so, for example, you can click on anything, a building, an asset. You can get the key information along the bottom. You can also dive into more information like areas, GFA, for example. You can then select it in terms of the areas or the sectors within the project. Cost information is also shown. And again, being fully interactive, you can click on a building, click on an asset, and the construction costs, operational costs for that asset will be shown. And then in a similar way for the infrastructure, you can play around, select a road, all of the key information from that road will be shown, the length of the road, the design speed. You can click on the typical cross-section, for example, for every single road within the project. And you can see which design vehicles, let's say, are allowed to be operated on that road. The next thing is the design rationale, which basically shows the design intent. Why was the building within this master plan designed this way? So we show an information tree, starting off at the national level, moving into the master plan level, infrastructure, landscape, buildings. So when you get down to the different clusters and eventually the different buildings, you're always able to see where this lands within the wider, very complex project. And again, just to reiterate that the key for this, the criteria that we always try to live by is user-friendliness, capturing only high-level information. We're not trying to, for example, compete with BIM. We're only capturing an executive-level summary for our projects. And of course, different projects require different types of tools, methodologies, methods. So we don't always create something as sophisticated as that. We can create diagrams, 2D diagrams, for example, through to these multidimensional interactive models at different scales, district, building, or system scale, depending on the brief. And so here's just an example of a couple of projects that we've been involved in over the past year or so. So again, different scales, building, master plan, and again, depending on the problem that's put in front of us, bespokely, a tool or a method will be created for that. And just a note on what we're involved in moving forward, we're collaborating with a number of people involved in virtual reality, augmented reality, to create a more immersive experience, let's say. But the key criteria that I mentioned before is something that we always want to follow by. So keep it very user-friendly, keep the information very high level so that we can create executive summaries for key stakeholders so that they're able to capture the bigger picture of the project. Thank you.
Thank you.